Hello and welcome. We are starting the month of June, and I am here with the two superintendents of our beautiful parks. I feel so honored to be able to work with these two gentlemen. They are the custodians of the parks. It was handed to them from those that have gone before. John in Waterton Lakes National Park in Canada has just come on board, and we're going to hear from John first. And then Dave, you're pretty early on in your tenure too. It's only been a couple of years for you as well. So this has been a learning curve as I've just been named president. It seems like yesterday, but I've only been here for a year and a half. But the team that we have formed together has just meant the world to me, and I'm so grateful to both of you for how you do what you do. So I know that there's been a lot of exciting things going on in the park, certainly recently with the aurora borealis that was all over North America. To viewing it from the dark sky nights in your two parks, I can't even imagine. So I'm looking forward to hearing a little bit about that. And I know we've got the bison reintroduction in both parks. So I'm just going to hand it over to you because you know what's going on in your park. We're going to start in Waterton Lakes Park with John.
Thanks so much, Maria. Really excited to be here. As I'm sure many folks know, I am acting as the field unit superintendent, so I'm really excited to be working with this team for the summer, and in particular with this association and our colleagues down in the States and Glacier. So I just thought I'd start with a few updates about what's happening in the park, and I'll start right where you sort of led me, Maria, which is Waterton-Glacier International Dark Sky Park was actually named the top dark sky viewing location in the world by an English travel agency, Ingham's. And yeah, a few weeks ago, we had the benefit of seeing a spectacular presentation, I'll call it, of auroras in the night sky. Some folks said it was some of the best. I know, Maria, you asked for some photos. I've asked my team to get a hold of some of those, so we'd like to share that with you. We also have a couple other things going on in the park. So our backcountry campsites are now reservable online on our reservation.pc.gc.ca website. So that is how we reserve all our other campsites. So that's really just going to streamline things for folks and give everyone an opportunity, equal opportunity to get those sites. I know they're very popular with our visitors. And then lastly, all of our day use areas have actually been rebuilt over the past few seasons, including Red Rock Canyon. So we're really excited about that being completed. It's our first year in a number of years where we don't have any active construction going on. So the doors are kicked wide open, and we're really hoping that folks can get out and explore those. One quick thing that's a hot topic for us, aquatic invasive species. Dave, we've spoken a little bit about this as well, and it's a hot topic around Western Canada in particular. So, one of the measures we took this year was, preventing any non-motorized watercraft from outside park boundaries from coming into the park and going into the water bodies. The angling for fish species will no longer be permitted in flowing waters, so that's streams and rivers, but we will continue to allow it as per our current regulations in the lakes. And one of the reasons we landed there really is, our data strongly indicates that the existing measures that we've been taking, which have been a number of years, just aren't quite effective enough to mitigate the risk of the introduction of aquatic invasives, and in particular things like zebra mussels. And as someone who's come from out east, I know very well in managing waterways out east the detrimental impacts that zebra mussels have. And where we're located, for folks who don't know, we're really at the headwaters of the largest watershed in southern Alberta, and that invasive species could have a detrimental impact on like the irrigation networks that are downstream, as well as water infrastructure and so on. So, one of the things we did hear from folks, there was some frustration around, that particular approach. We're always going to continue to explore options to allow for water recreation happening. What we've said was we look at maybe some minor adjustments this year, and what we've committed to do is a full program review in the fall to help inform how we're going to move forward in the future. And with that, public consult. Did you have a question?
Yeah, was the frustration with that because of wait times, or was there something else going on with the frustration?
It was just a bit around, the local residents. So people were outside the park not being permitted to bring in their boats. And in the past we had a mandatory inspection station. Again, we had some challenges with, people actually adhering to that. And, the real issue is that if a boat gets into the water, it's too late for us, right? But what we have done is talk to, local communities. We hosted a couple of meetings to consult with them, help get some information to help inform those decisions. So, one thing I'm committed to doing while I'm here is to continue to engage actively with the community on all the things we're doing. And that's a great segue for me because we do have ongoing consultations for two specific topics. The first one is around power boating in Waterton Lake. So as part of our management plan, we had a commitment to review that. We've already gone out with some in-person consultations and some online surveys are going to be launched as well. Power boating is a very there's a passionate group of power boaters in the parks, and I know that they'd like to see that maintained. And we haven't made any decisions yet, but we had committed to doing that review. So I really do invite anyone who has input to either come out to some of our consultation or to respond to that online survey when it's launched. And the second one is around visitor use management. Again, something that I think Dave and his team know very, very well. So what we're hoping to do is develop a visitor use management strategy that is industry practice. I think if I recall correctly from my experience, it's our colleagues out in the States who kind of really spearheaded this with, exceptional levels of visitation that we're seeing all over our beautiful protected areas. We're happy to see those people, but we do have to put in measures that are going to allow us to, manage that appropriately and make sure that we adhere to our mandate, which is, protecting the ecological integrity of our places. So with that, while we are a busy place, we're not seeing, crazy levels of visitation just yet, but I know it's coming. We know it's coming, so we want to be ready for it. So we're in this really great space of, being a little bit ahead of it and being able to take the time to think about this before we put those measures in place. So again, we invite people to get in touch with us and let us know what they think. And if you don't mind, I'll just do a last shout out because I've been getting around a lot, and the folks at the Cardston Rotary Club invited me for their annual charter night. So they were celebrating 95 years, which I just thought was really amazing. And one of the speakers, the guest speaker was actually Gerald Beezer, who is the former president of the International Peace Park Association. So I got to hear a little bit about the history and how we got there. And I have a bit of a personal connection with Rotary clubs. When I was a kid, my local Rotary club sent me to Ottawa on the Adventures in Citizenship program. And I don't want to say that's how I got into public service, but it's certainly a little bit of fire in me. And I just remember exploring Parliament and sitting in my member of Parliament seat. Such a cool experience. So I shared that with them. And I just want to say, hey, guys, we're doing some great work at the Peace Park, but you guys do great work just in your communities. And I saw that in Cardston, and I personally experienced that. So I also just want to say, as someone who's benefited from that, thank you so much for the work that you're doing.
Oh, John, thank you so much for that shout out. Really appreciate it. And thank you for all that valuable information. I started by introducing you as the current custodian of the park, but the reality is every user is a custodian of the park. You're just kind of the chief custodian. You're the one who's there to tell us how to respect the park while we're in it. And it's not always easy because we don't necessarily first and foremost think to custodianship or to conservation. And I know that you've been working closely with our conservation and environment action team, and we've been putting up videos about users and how to use the park in gentle ways to preserve the park. So I don't think we've done a video yet on the water invasion process, and I think that's an important one for all the reasons you mentioned. So that
Mm.
means that we want to go forward and help you in getting the word out for sure.
Yeah, and if we just pick up on it, I mean,
Yeah.
myself and my team, we do great work. I'm very proud of that, but we can't do it alone. Like we rely on partners to help us either help educate and outreach. The International Association has been such a great partner of Parks Canada and as well as the National Park Agency for many, many years. So, you can bet that when you offer to help us out, we're going to take you up on that. And we do appreciate all the efforts that you are doing already. Just help us make sure that people do. We want people to come. We want them to explore the place. We want them to enjoy it. We also want to protect it for generations to come.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Rotarians, you may or may not know, 2025 Rotary International Convention is going to be in Calgary, which is just hours north of Waterton Lakes Park. And so there is a 2-day trip to Southern Alberta, and we're going to spend the night in Waterton, and I'm going to be your host and your guide in the park. And we're going to get to meet with John in person for that time. Hopefully, Dave will also be able to make his way over there, but that's a bit of a farther journey for you. So next up is Dave Romer, who was named superintendent a couple of years ago of Glacier National Park. And I'm always in awe because Glacier is such a large park and there is so much going on in that park. And it's become such a popular park in the park system. So Dave, if you could let us know what's going on in your part of the world.
Yeah, thanks, Maria, and thanks, John. It's great to have partners like you both. John's team and ours at Glacier have already met this year and kind of talked about our goals and upcoming things and ways that we can work with each other, which is one of the true benefits of being at a park like Glacier or Waterton is that international cooperation and being the world's first peace park really gives us an added sense of purpose. I've been here at Glacier. This will be my third summer. I got here in July of 22, and I think I've got the best job in the world. I love the park here and the people that I work with. We do have a lot of things that happen here at Glacier. Right now, today, May 30th, we're clearing snow up at Logan Pass at a place called the Drift, which is a place that accumulates a lot of winter snow just on the east side of the Continental Divide. And so we've got our team up there doing crazy things in bulldozers and excavators, trying to move that snow off the road to open going to the Sun Road for the year. We've got media up there today too with cameras, so maybe there'll be some new photographs of all that pioneering work where you're working on a snowdrift that's 20 to 80 feet above the surface of the road and trying to get down that to asphalt. There's been a lot of snow up top. I think it's been a little bit light in terms of a winter moisture year, but at the very top of the peaks is where most of it was hiding. So they're encountering pretty good depths up there. And we anticipate sometime in mid-June having going to the Sun Road open from east to west. So for Glacier, most of our visitation occurs in June, July, and August, especially July, when it's pretty for certain that the road will be open during some or maybe all of that month. And so we see 3 million visitors per year, more or less now. We have been seeing that just about every year since 2016, except for 2020 during the pandemic. And so to visit the park and to visit some of the peak places during the peak hours, you will need a vehicle reservation in addition to your park pass, in addition to your entry fee. And Recreation.gov is the place to get that. It's also a place to look for camping reservations in the park. And rec.gov has a mobile app. And I am hearing from people this past week that their experiences in getting reservations have been a little bit easier through the application rather than just finding it online and doing that. So if you're planning a trip to Glacier and if you don't already have an advanced reservation for a reservation area, then at 7 p.m. the night before you want to go is when those tickets will be available on recreation.gov. Just again, have the app downloaded, have your account created, have all that done before 7 p.m. because there still is a lot of demand for a limited supply for the reservation areas. The reservation areas is not all the park, so you can always visit Glacier somewhere any day without one. But those reservation areas are Many Glacier, the west entrance of going to the Sun Road through Apgar, and the North Fork, which is a kind of a tucked out of the way dirt road access type place, but great fun for people that are prepared for that kind of a park experience. Um, this is an exciting time of year, moving snow, hiring staff, the park concessions, the businesses inside the park are hiring new people. So it's not an exaggeration to say that there's probably 800 to 1,000 new employees working for somebody within the boundaries of Glacier this summer. So I like to get out and meet them and welcome them and Their energy drives a lot of the positive vibe that happens at Glacier every year. The summer season definitely is a sprint. In addition to visiting the park, hiking in the park, taking in all the amazing, inspirational alpine sights and scenes that we have, there's a few other things visitors might notice. If you come in through St. Mary or through Apgar and drive an electric vehicle, you will actually be able to charge that vehicle at a public station at St. Mary and an Apgar. So the Apgar one's not installed yet, but it's due. And it's just a small yet visible sign of some of the things that Glacier is doing to mitigate the effects of climate change. We, of course, are doing a lot more behind the scenes that visitors won't see to maintain park natural resources and cultural resources in various scenarios of climate change. So we do a lot of adaptive work, creating cold water refugia for native fish so that they'll persist into the future in a warmer climate and warmer waters and all the things we anticipate seeing. The last thing I'll mention, just because it's near and dear to my heart, but we work with tribes more and more. I believe in a more authentic and meaningful way than we have. We're always learning and doing what we can to reconcile and heal some old wounds. So some of that climate change work that we're doing with white bark pine is also in concert with the Confederated Salish and Kootenai tribes, which are to the south and west of Glacier. And our immediate neighbors to the east is the Blackfeet Reservation, home of the Blackfeet Nation, part of the Blackfoot Confederacy. And the Blackfeet are working with the National Park Service and with Parks Canada to bring bison back to their native lands, their native habitat. And it's a great program. It's ecological restoration, it's cultural revitalization, it's human justice, all wrapped into one big thing. And we anticipate there being additional bison releases this summer, just east of the park on the reservation lands. And that's been a large part of both for Waterton and for Glacier, part of our ongoing discussions and learning with the tribes that we work with, and to bring about this outcome. So it's an honor and a privilege to be invited by the tribes to be a part of it, and it aligns perfectly with our mission for all those reasons I mentioned, for ecological restoration, for cultural authenticity in our parks. Helping to bring the bison back is going to be just one of the coolest things that happens in our neck of the woods.
And that it gets to happen on your watch. Oh my goodness, how exciting.
Dumb luck for me. It's it's not a thing. There's no credit taking involved with it. It's a long overdue thing, and we're privileged to have our careers, I think, at a moment in time where there's an increasing importance and recognition that there are some wrongs that needed to be corrected. And so getting to engage in that work is just I feel honored and blessed by that.
And I know your predecessor and one of our directors, we're very blessed to have him, Jeff Mao, worked tirelessly in the creation of this and in the communications around this. And he is on our Indigenous Peoples Engagement Action Team. And I'm just so grateful that like you said, we are at this time in history that we are part of that reconciliation and that conversation in any way that we can be. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. So thank you both for all of your service. What I am going to ask you to do is if you could shoot me the links that you want people to go to, the links that you mentioned for reservation, because I'm going to put that in the description of this so that folks don't have to, now wait a minute, what did they just say? All you're going to have to do is you're going to have to click on the link and it will be in the description for you. And I think probably the easiest way for people to engage. Making the reservations is part of the way that we continue to be doing the custodial work that we need to do to honor the parks and to make sure that the parks aren't overrun, because we certainly don't want to ruin that which we love so dearly. So again, gentlemen, thank you so much for everything that you do. We're going to be in East Glacier Park for our annual assembly. Waterton-Glacier International Park Assembly happens September, I believe it's 19th to the 21st, or 22nd rather, because the 22nd is our Hands Across the Border ceremony, and we'll see both of you there. We'll get updates on the bison program and everything else that's going on in the park. We'll get slideshows, so we'll get to see the pretty pictures. And then during our AGM, we're going to be able to hear more about how we as an association work in concert with the parks to make things happen through our action teams. And we're going to hear what the asks are for the next year from these two gentlemen. So I'm looking forward to that. And remember, if you're a Rotarian in any one of the districts of the 4 districts of the association, 5360, 5370, 5390, and 5080, then you are already a member in good standing of the association, and you are a voting member at our AGM. So we invite you to East Glacier. We're in East Glacier this year. Next year, we'll return to Waterton. And as I said before, we'll be in Waterton twice. We'll be in Waterton in June, with this 2-day tour of Southern Alberta with Rotarians from around the world. And then we'll be there again for our assembly in September, as always. Again, gentlemen, thank you for everything, and thank you for taking time out of your very busy days to be with us here today.
Our pleasure. Thank you.
It is. Thanks, Maria. Bye, John. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.